right, coming up on the show today, we're meeting up with Kim Beddoes, a very popular familiar name. We're gonna go all the way to Sambeto and catch up with her and her fur babies. And also, for those of you who don't know, Kim was actually one of the pioneers of animal welfare education here in Fiji through our children's show Get Set. So we'll get to know more about that. And also coming up, we have our Petsmes, which is the small SMEs that have sprung up in Fiji for our animal friends. And today we're meeting up with the owner of the Dog House Fiji. So these guys, they make dog houses for dogs in Fiji. So that's all coming up. Stay tuned. Good. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Welcome to Sambeto.
It's so nice to actually finally meet you in person.
Yes, likewise, likewise.
So I wanted to just pop in and have you feature on our pet diaries and
Awesome.
just get to know you. I know you love animals, and Kim is actually one of the pioneers of creating animal welfare awareness on TV in Fiji, and that started out through our Get Set program a few years back. And Kim was the genius behind it. Her love for animals really made a big difference in Fiji. So we wanted to just pop in and say hi and get
Thank you for that.
see all of your fur babies at
Yes,
home.
yes, you get to meet throughout the show. You'll get to meet my crew. There's 6 of them in total.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having the show for the Pet Project. I think it's fantastic, and as I learned through Get Set Pet of the Week, it's so essential and so important. Because animal welfare is everybody's business, and we have to inspire and educate the children and the people of Fiji to be kinder to animals. Because at the end of the day, how we treat our animals, how we treat our less fortunate in society, how we treat our vulnerable in society, it speaks volumes of us as a country and us as a nation. And there is just simply too much animal cruelty in this country, and it just breaks my heart to see. Since the many years ago that I did Get Set Pet of the Week, back then there was the SPCA. They were the only organization for animal welfare in Fiji, but now there's quite a few, and they're all West based. Here in Nandi there's Animals Fiji, and there's PASH, and in Bar there's the Greater Good Foundation. All working tirelessly, all volunteer organizations working tirelessly for the benefit of animals. So if you get the chance, if you can donate, and it doesn't necessarily always have to be in cash, you can donate in your time, and you can donate in kind. Just contact any of these organizations. Like I said, SPCA, Animals Fiji, PASH, and Greater Good Foundations. There's 4 different organizations. Contact them, and generally they'll have a wish list of things they need. They always need old newspapers. They always need rice. They always need dal, because as I learned from interviewing vets on the show, dal is an excellent substitute for meat. The iron in dal is an excellent substitute for meat, and I didn't know that until I interviewed someone on the Get Set Pet of the Week. So particularly now, after a 2-year pandemic, everyone is struggling, and so meat's so incredibly expensive. So dal is a good substitute. So contact any of these charity organizations and see how you can help. And if you're a big corporate, and if you have the ability to assist, quite often they need the most basic of things. They need gas to cook the food, to feed the animals. They need rice, they need vegetables, they need old towels and old bedding. They need our help, and we need to support them. So thank you for having a show like you do and carrying on the good work.
Thank you for starting it and inspiring people like me to continue the work that you started a long time ago. And I hear that it's really made a big difference in the people that have grown up now from watching the show from that time?
Well, actually, a couple of weeks ago, I had to go to the doctor's, and when I sat down, he's like, "Oh, I know you," and I'm like, "Oh no," and he's like, "I used to watch Get Set Pet of the Week, and I really enjoyed it." And even though it's been many years since that show till today, the kids of then are now adults of today. And so I'm still getting feedback. People still come up and say, hey, I used to love your show, and I learned all these things about animals that I didn't know. But more importantly, hopefully it helped inspire a generation of young kids to grow up to be kinder to animals. And I hopefully the parents and the elders learn from that. So, thank you for doing your show. It's so important and it's so necessary. And can I just do a naughty little shout out here to the sponsors, to the corporates that can assist? Please do.
Oh, thank you.
Please do, because it is an important part of awareness that we need in this country. So anyway, thanks again. If you have the opportunity, please try and either support any of the animal welfare organizations that I've mentioned, or if you're looking to promote your business on TV, please support a show like the Pet Project.
Thank you, Kim. I wanted to say, so we have all these beautiful natural bugs flying around, and we're surrounded by nature. You have such a beautiful place.
Thank you.
And it's even more beautiful because the compound is filled with dogs, and they're your dogs. Can you please tell me about them?
Yeah, sure. We have 6 dogs at present. I say at present because every time we see a stray, we want to take them in, but we also realize you can't have too many dogs. But we're out here in the rural area, so we live in Sambeto. We love it here, simply Sambeto. And yes, that is the garden, that is the sleeping giant in my background. So we have 6 dogs. 2 of them were given to me by a friend in Lautoka, Adele and Katie, named after Adele the singer and Katy Perry.
I love it.
And the remaining 4 dogs are all strays. The one we found under a container in the back, we just heard a noise one day, a little yelping, and we found this gorgeous little bundle of a dog that's turned up to our main boy.
That's Rocky?
That's Rocky.
Yeah.
He's the man of the house.
Right.
He's the only boy. He is the only boy, and he loves hugs.
Okay.
He loves hugs and pets and just general attention. He's such a loving animal. And yes, since each one of the dogs that we have all have their own stories, but they're all strays. So if you have the opportunity to open your home and open your heart and take in a stray and help animals that you see, please try and do it. If we all need to do it. It's a time that humans, we need to be looking out for each other, particularly after a 2-year pandemic, but we also need to look out for the animals in our neighborhoods, in our compounds, in our country.
Who's the little golden girl that's been running around?
That is Cookie. That is my nephew's dog. Same thing, same story. Cookie was a stray. Was brought home when we first met her. She was not so attractive. There she is. She's Cookie. No, wait. See if she can come. Cookie, come.
Hi. This is Rocky.
This is Cookie.
Hi, Rocky.
This is. Hey, sweetheart. So Cookie was a stray that had all sorts of issues and no hair. And the wonderful people at Animals Fiji, here she is down here, coming to right behind you. The wonderful people at Animals Fiji treated her, and now she's got golden hair now, hasn't she, sweetheart? This is my son Christian, by the way. Part of his job, job around the house is to assist with feeding the dogs. So Cookie was also a stray with no hair. She had mange, and you're a Cookie controller, because Cookie's still a puppy, very active. But Cookie is another success story in terms she was a stray, and she's been treated by Animals Fiji, and she's a loving, wonderful, little bit cheeky doggy.
Okay, Kim, I have a question, and I'm not sure how to really ask this, but can I just say, so growing up, like I grew up in Australia and I watched the Melbourne Cup quite a bit, but I also heard quite a lot of bad things about it because the horses would get injured, and so personally I just never got on board with horse racing. So for someone like you who loves animals so much, how did this come about, Sambeto horse racing? Okay, sure. I mean, that's a really good question, and it's an honest question. So in a nutshell, my partner and I moved to Sambeto a couple of years ago, about 6 years ago now. And when we got here, I decided to go and visit the neighbors. So across the river from me was my school friend, Levi Tora. And I was having farm tea on his veranda, and I was like, hey, what's this?
like, what is happening there? And he explained that it was a full international standard race course cutout. And I was like, what? Why don't you do horse racing? And he said, well, because I'm not an event organizer, I'm a farmer. I can't do both. So that's where it initially hatched, the idea. And being from Sambeto, well, I'm from Sambeto now. Sambeto is my home now, but I'm a Nandi girl. So I was born and bred in Nandi, and I'm embarrassed to say that I'd never been to the hot pools. I'd never been zip lining and swimming in the river in the zip lining area. So I was thinking to myself, well, if I'm a Nandi girl and I didn't know there was all this beauty in my backyard, I bet you the rest of the country doesn't even know. So I thought, well, why don't we use this existing space and we create an event? We create an event that's a community event that is relevant to the rural community. So the rural community are farmers. And horses play a very big part in rural communities, in farming, for transportation and for assistance on the farm. So the reality is horse racing happens in this country, and it's mainly done by the farmers themselves as an activity on the weekends that the families do. And I didn't know any of this until I created the Sambeto races. So I got in touch with the team from Animals Fiji, and I asked them, because if I was going, exactly as you said, if I was going to do a horse racing event, that's animals, so it's very important that they're treated well. So I reached out to Animals Fiji and I asked them, would they consider partnering with me? And they said yes, they would. And their reasons are kind of the same as mine. They said, Kim, we know what's happening. There are horses in this country. So, and there's currently no awareness on how to better look after your horses. So this event is the perfect vehicle for it. So the difference between the Sambeto races and the Melbourne Cup, for example, the horses taking part in the Melbourne Cup, they are how do you say? They are professional horse racing horses. So they are trained and bred their entire lives. That's all they do. The horses that take part in Fiji, they're farm horses. That during the week they're at their day job on the farm, and so on the weekends they do horse racing. So by having the Sambeto races, we noticed just within the first 2 years a huge improvement in the quality of care that the horses were being given by their owners, because they got an education, and they got the education through Animals Fiji, through the event. So what we did, for any horse to take part in the Sambeto races, they first had to pass an inspection by Animals Fiji's qualified vets. So they were inspected and they had to be deemed fit to race. And a few, not all, passed. So those that didn't pass, Animals Fiji vets said, this is the problem with your horse, this is the issue, this is how it needs to be treated. And so having your horse in excellent condition, it's not something you can do overnight, you know. You've got to be feeding them well, you've got to be, making sure they have their 20 liters of water every day. I didn't know that till I did the Sambeto races, and I learned that too from Animals Fiji. You've got to be doing all of that well, consistently, to have the horse in excellent condition to pass to race. So we noticed a huge improvement. Like, they were already across the board, most horses were being treated well, but there was a huge improvement. And then by the third year, it was awesome. It gave me goosebumps. The event started, and the first thing I noticed in the weeks lead up, we were getting vibers. We were getting videos from horse owners and jockeys who had made Kalavata outfits. They had made Kalavata outfits for their jockey and matching for their horses, and all the fancy masks and everything. So for me, like, in that short 3 years, I'm like, it's already achieving its purpose of creating a community event, bringing spotlight to beautiful Sambeto, but also increasing the knowledge, awareness and pride in doing the right thing and looking after your animals.
Coming up next, Kim tells us more about how her love for animals started and how it's passed down to her son.
All of our dogs love hugs, they love pets, they love kisses. Hey, Christian.
Well, Cookie doesn't like pets.
Yeah, really loves?
Yeah, she tries to.
She will try to nip you.
Yeah.
As a kid, I witnessed what obviously was traumatic for me to witness. I was with my mom driving somewhere, and on the side of the road, I saw, makes me upset just thinking about it, but I saw a puppy, dog, small dog. It had a rope around its neck. The rope was tied to a stick. Stick was in the ground, and there was a bunch of kids, about 10, 12 kids with sticks, and they were beating it. They were absolutely beating it. And I remember wanting to like stop immediately, tell my mom to stop the car and trying to take off my seat belt. I think I was young, so I would have been in primary school. I wanted to go and rescue that animal, that puppy. And then so growing up into an adult, and once I started working, I'm a businesswoman, I'm a business owner, an entrepreneur. And so I think it's my business side that makes me want to be efficient, to do things that have the biggest amount of impact. So I was a volunteer at SPCA, and then I joined the board for a little while. And I realized that the best way to influence the most amount of people to change for the better the way they treat animals was through the media. So I approached Fiji TV and I asked them if they would be interested in doing a show specifically on animals. And I did it as a volunteer. I did it in my spare time. I'm not sure how long I ended up doing it for. I think it was about 1.5 years, almost 2 years. And it was Get Set Pet of the Week. And I did that show specifically with the purpose of educating and inspiring the people of Fiji, but particularly the children, the children, so that because the children can change the way, if parents have been brought up not having any importance of animals, if they've been brought up in a way that animals aren't important, then I thought, well, if I can influence the children that it is important, then they can educate their parents. And so that was, I loved that show. It was so many laughs, so many good times. I remember, I think it was a snake or something pooed on me. And then of course, the combination. You have the two worst things to have on to have on TV. Animals and young children, and I had both of them. So there was, we had lots of bloopers, lots of laughs. But more importantly, I know that it made a difference. One particular incident a few years later, I was out at a function, and this guy came up to me and he says, "Oh, you're the one, you're the problem." And I was like, oh my gosh, I thought he was grumpy. He'd had a few to drink. And he said, you're the reason that my children have taken it upon themselves to become the heroes of every stray animal on our street. And I was like, what? And he explained how the kids loved watching the Get Set Pet of the Week, and it had inspired them to go and save all the animals in their neighborhood. He said, so we went from nothing. I think he had 4 or 5 dogs, and every single one of them was strays. And I had that in quite a few incidents since the show. Years later, that have shown that, it is really, really important for us to have shows such as the Pet Project. It is important for us to remind people and remind children and adults across the board that we have to look after our animals. They can't speak, they can't protect themselves. It is our responsibility as human beings to make sure that we are kind to animals and treat them well. And hopefully through awareness there will be change. And also through awareness we need laws to be changed, and we need laws to be enforced, because cruelty to animals is still happening and it's unacceptable. And there's a lot of correlation between how a human being treats an animal to how they treat humans. And some of the more not good people in society tend to start at a young age where they're cruel to animals, and then that cruelty goes on to humans. So it's really important that we have shows based on animals and showing their importance and how much love they bring into your life and how much joy they bring as well.
Coming up after the break, our Petsme with Dog House Fiji. One of the 5 freedoms of animal welfare, in fact, is making sure that your pets have a safe shelter and a space to rest. Now, I've just walked out of what is a massive dog house, and this was built by Dog House Fiji, who is going to be featured in our Petsme segment tonight. So let's get to meet the owner, Shalesh, and get to know more about how other people can get houses made for their dogs like this. Even I can fit into it. Maybe I'll get one for myself. What started out as a passion project is now slowly turning into a full-time deal for electrician and owner of Dog House Fiji, Shalesh Reddy. With the help of his friends, Shalesh now provides custom dog house services all across Fiji.
I actually started this company, it's more than a year actually. I actually felt the need for dog houses because I've been traveling, due to my work, I've been traveling throughout Fiji, and I've seen dogs that are really in need of homes. I normally see them outside in rainy compounds and stuff, so I started building dog houses, and from there it kept on growing. And as you can see at the back, this is one of the units that so far, this is the biggest unit that I've built to date. I've built about more than 100 units, all of different sizes and designs. You can check them out on my page, Dog House Fiji. We have created a page. It is named Dog House Fiji, and if you happen to visit that page, you can go to the photo section and you can see all the types and designs that I've already built. So you get a fair idea as to what I am doing. It's not just a standard type that I built. There's so many types and designs to choose from. So if you happen to visit that page, then you can always give us a call or contact us through Viber or Messenger, and then we are more than happy to liaise with the size and type of house that you need. We also deliver throughout Fiji. We have done deliveries to the Western. We have done deliveries to Vanuatu, Lambasa, Sabu as well. We are always traveling to the west almost 2 times in a month just to deliver dog houses or to build at site. This house, actually all the materials were supplied by the owner himself, Mr. Suresh. So he gave me a mind as to what he wants, and then I put it to action. So this is what we have. It took about 1 week for me and a couple of my friends to build. If you move around, you can see the front compartment. It acts as a terrace. It's got 2 food bowls. And this house actually belongs to Brutus. He's sitting right next to us. Now if you take a close look inside, it's got 2 sections. One acts as a terrace and one as a bedroom. And it's really nice and comfortable. You can literally walk in. This house it's fully furnished, it's fully tiled. It's got a ceiling as well. It's comfortable with the grills and stuff, so there's enough ventilation for Brutus to stay inside comfortably. The important for me to start building this house, I've been, as I said, I've been traveling around a lot. I've seen dogs staying around literally without any homes and just staying on the balcony, on the terrace, just at a corner of the fence of the compound. It is quite important for dogs to have a proper house. This will prevent them from getting unwanted diseases, fleas and ticks and stuff. And also they are protected from the adverse conditions of the environment that we stay in. Ever since I started, even I had double-minded that people would not have the patience. But as soon as my business started to grow, I could see more and more potential customers inquiring and even ordering. So that's how we get to know that, okay, there is a market for this, and there are people who got passion to have houses built for their dogs.
Yeah.
Like everyone wants to have a good house, so we have a passion for dogs as well. We are animal lovers, and this is what we do. So.
Well, Kim, thank you so much for having us over. I really enjoyed being here, and thank you for looking after my crew and I with the snacks and the juice.
No problem.
But it's just so lovely to see, and your dogs are so well behaved, I must say.
No comment. They generally are. They're a good pack. They're excellent security dogs. They're very loving, but they're hard to keep clean all the time because all the silly in the Sumbeto River.
Well, thank you so much. Hopefully we can have you back on the show.
I'd love to have you back in the future. And thank you for continuing the good and important purpose of inspiring the people of Fiji to be kinder to animals through your show.
And all of this started because of someone like you. Teamwork!
Teamwork makes the dream work. Be kind to animals.
Be kind to animals. What's your favorite animal?
Hyena.
You like hyenas? How come?
Because I like them.